好几个。
哦，他们大那个10秒。
对对对，因为我刚好会去看，对，我看了你的表。
Distinguished participants, we are about to begin our first keynote presentation. Please find your seat and get ready to be inspired by our amazing speaker. Thank you. We have the honor now that to invite the foreign presenters that come to the front, then we can take a picture of you and then to have the chance that to give us a chance that to give it as a promotion for the Child University of Technology. Please, our foreign guests, please come to the front. Let's take a photo of you. We now begin our keynote speech session. Our first keynote speaker is Dr. Minxuan Chen, Director and Board Member of the Taiwan Creative Content Agency. Dr. Chen will present on the topic, the future of digital restoration of moving images, integrating AI technology. To introduce our keynote speaker, please welcome the session moderator, Mr. Cyut Hum from Taiwan University of Technology.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Yale Yan, or Cyut Hum, from the Department of Communication Arts at Chaoyang University of Technology. For our first keynote speaker, it is my honor to welcome back someone who once taught at our department and whose work continues to shape our field. Dr. Chen Chen is a film scholar, cultural diplomat, and expert in film preservation. He currently serves as a board member of the Taiwan Creative Content Agency, or Yuan. He was appointed director of the Taiwan Film Institute in 2016. During his tenure, he and his team established a digital restoration laboratory. They reintroduced classic Taiwanese language films and also supported the project that led to the Taiwan Film and Audiovisual Institute broader archive for film, radio, and television. From 2019 to 2025, he served as Director of Cultural Divisions at the Taipei Representative Office in the UK. Recently, his work has focused on international exchange practice and participation in cultural and creative industries, along with related research interests. Today, drawing from both scholarship and institutional practice, Dr. Chen will speak on the topic, the future of digital restoration of moving images, integrating AI technology. This includes AI-assisted scratch detection, image stabilization, resolution enhancement, and reconstructing of missing frames, all while emphasizing that historical authenticity and artistic integrity still rely strongly on human judgment. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Chen Chen. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's just like another examination. So it's my honor to be here again. As Professor Yang just introduced that, I used to teach in Chaoyang University many years ago. And I have to say that it was kind of wonderful experiences while I was teaching at the Department of Communication and Arts. Although sometimes students they always make me head back. Okay. However, I think compared to the public service thesis afterwards, sometimes I miss my academia career in some way. However, I think the public sector for me is another adventure. So now I would like to share and talk something about my adventure while I was served as the director of Taiwan Film Institute. So, thanks. So what I am going to share today is not a technical presentation. I aim to explore the question how artificial intelligence, AI, might be applied to the restoration of moving images in the future, and how the use of AI will create new considerations in related fields. So next. We will look briefly at the history of film preservation, consider recent examples where restored classical titles have even created new markets, and then turn to the promises and threats of AI in this field. Along the way, I will raise questions of film aesthetics and restoration ethics, as well as implications for industry practice. In short, this is not simply about machines preparing old films. It is about envisioning how AI could transform the way we preserve cultural memory and what new responsibilities and opportunities this might bring. I hope these reflections will provide questions we can discuss together. Next. So when we discuss film restoration, we must first remember that cinema is still a relatively young art form, just over 130 years old. Yet, ironically, most of its earliest works have already disappeared. According to the Library of Congress's annual report in the United States, film historians estimate that nearly 90% of the silent film produced between 1912 and 1929 are lost forever. Early nitrate film stock was not only unstable and flammable, but also regarded as disposable. Studios and distributors rarely saw films as cultural treasures worth keeping. The first official move came in Britain when the British Film Institute was founded in 1933 and soon created the National Film Library. However, it was in France. With the establishment of the Cinémathèque Française in 1936 by Henry Langlois, that the concept of a film archive dedicated to preserving cinema truly took shape. By the mid-20th century, alarm bells were ringing. National film archives in different countries began systematic collecting and preserving. Later, UNESCO formally recognized audiovisual heritage as part of the world's cultural memory. Furthermore, when we discuss film preservation, we also acknowledge loss. Think about that. Almost an entire generation of cinema was erased. One of the famous examples is London After Midnight, a horror film directed by Todd Oren in 1927. It starred Lon Chaney and was a box office hit at that time. But in 1967, a fire at MGM's film vault destroyed the last known copy. All we have are still photographs and the sense of what we have lost. Next. So in Taiwan, the ones reviving Taiwanese language film, which is Taiyu Pian, of the 1950s and 1960s, suffered a similar effect, not from fire, but from neglect. By the 1980s, most prints had decayed or been discarded, leaving only fragments of the cultural legacy. Here is an example. In 1955, the first Taiwanese language film shot on 16mm. 6 talented scholars in the West Chamber, 六才子西厢记, was released, and yet no completed copy of 6 talented scholars in the West Chamber has ever been found. What this means is that the very first step of Taiwanese language cinema in the historical sense, if you will, cannot be experienced today. Even if fragments were discovered tomorrow, they would mostly likely require immediate digitization and restoration before further usage, not to mention whether the fragments are in a reasonable shape or not. Okay, great. Now, we turn the lecture, the auditorium become a cinema. This is why digital restoration is not only about protecting famous masterpieces from the past. It is also about giving fragile or rediscovered films, sometimes found in the least expected corners, a second chance to live. Without digitization and restoration, even if we miraculously recover these films, they may vanish again before audiences can see them. And yet, sometimes there are miracles. There is also a remarkable story of survival linked to Taiwan, just like the silent film Love and Beauty and Shen Yinghui and Wang Baochuan, which I'm going to elaborate with. Next. Love and Beauty, the silent classic movie made in 1931. Directed by Pu Wanzang in Shanghai, Republic of China at that moment, starring the legendary Ran Yu, had long been thought lost in the war. But one surviving print traveled an extraordinary path from Shanghai to Switzerland, later to Uruguay in South America, where it was safeguarded by the Chinese intellectual and cinephile Li Shizhen. After his death, the reels were transferred to Taiwan's National Central Library and eventually placed under the care of the Taiwan Film and Audiovisual Institute, where I worked before. In 2013, it became part of the first batch of works to undergo digital restoration, carried out in collaboration with Lamier Image Ritrovata in Bologna, Italy. The reels themselves are preserved in the Schulin Film Vault. While the original can are now displayed as part of the Institute's permanent exhibition, today this film is regarded as one of the Institute's treasures. The survival of Love and Beauty shows that restoration is not just about repairing damage. It is about recognizing the cultural value of what has survived and ensuring it can continue to be seen by audiences in the digital age. Next. Another story is about Taiwan's first 35mm Taiwanese language cinema, Shen Yinghui and Wang Baochuan, directed by Liu Jiming and produced by Chen Chengsan in 1956. Marking another milestone. This film launched a vibrant industry that produced hundreds of titles in the following decade. It was a sensation upon release in 1956 of Shen Yinghui and Wang Baochuan. It broke the box office records and launched a trilogy of Taiwanese opera films, which is 歌仔戏电影. That triggered the golden age of Taiwanese language cinema for decades. However, all three parts of this trilogy were thought to be lost forever. Scholars could only rely on fragments of text and memory, or the documents never movie themselves. However, the situation changed in 2013 when a research team from the Graduate Institute of Sound and Image Studies at Tainan University of the Arts conducted a field survey in Miaoli. In an abandoned theater, they discovered 3 rusty film cans. Inside lay the completed trilogy of 石品贵 and Wang Baochuan. The reels were in fragile condition, acidified, ragged, and in some places even torn in half. But it was a historic discovery. Even more striking, this version had been redubbed and resung in Hakka language. What was once thought of as a purely Taiwanese language film now reveals traces of cross-cultural circulation. The use of Hakka opera tunes alongside Taiwanese opera suggested that the boundaries between Minnan and Hakka culture may have been more fluid than we assume today. The rediscovery and ongoing restoration of 石品贵 and Wang Baochuan remind us that film history is not only about books. Sometimes it is also about the miracle of survival and about how digital restoration can bring fragile, forgotten works into cultural memory. These stories remind us cinema is fragile. Preservation is never guaranteed, and that is why the future tools of AI matter. Not to replace human judgment, but to give us a fighting chance in this race against time. So next. Now I would like to show you 2 film clips. Actually, it has been digitized many years ago from the film board of Taiwan Film and the Audiovisual Institute. The first clip that I'm going to show is Golden Worm Jet Cop, 金湖玉里, produced in 1959. And assumably, this is the first colored Taiwanese language film that we found at the moment. Yeah. This one should be in that show. Can we go down the volume a little bit? Can we turn down the volume a bit? Thank you. So, let me explain about this movie a little bit. So previously, the rolling cart used to be put in the head of the film instead of nowadays we put the rolling cart on the end of the film. So this is a very typical way that starting a movie. So for this version, actually this is Binglan versus Zishou, not Jingu. I mean, this one is Binglan's Iliad Legend, produced in 1960. And this one is the second colored Taiwanese language cinema that we found and preserved at the moment. And this one with the soundtrack quality. About 8 or 9 years ago, when we found this copy, actually was kind of surprised. But we realized that the copy itself is not in a very good shape. So we tried to digitize it in the first place. However, we never managed to restore it in the digital version. Since we just fails the gauge that we want to restore it manually, accumulate basis, it would really cost a lot of time and money. So we decided to digitize it first. So once it digitized, which means that you can watch it just like now, relatively easily compared to when it is in the original shape. I bet most of you probably have no chance to really see this film before. Or if someone who's here have ever seen this film before, please do come forward because we need more information about film. Most of the classical titles that we have at the moment, we know quite little about them. Especially those Chinese language cinemas, due to lack of the proper documents. So, sometimes I would say that one cinema or one Taiwanese language cinema is just like one secret. Okay, let's stop here and let's see the second clip, which is Golden Worm J-pop made in 1958. This is the first colored Taiwanese language cinema that we have found so far. But as we can see that the color itself is kind of fading. 9 years ago when we decided to digitize this copy, actually it was being frozen in our film vault, the low temperature film vault, more than 20 years, which means that it is in kind of frigid or microcontrolled environment for 20 years, and after that we started to digitize it. So the techniques team, they really had quite a lot of efforts for restoring it, for digitizing it. Yeah, because the print from the really low temperature environment. And after that, they need to look after it carefully, manually. And after that, they decided, okay, they can put the whole print into the machine for scanning. So this is quite a complicated process. But as I say, I could or may change part of this process as I'm going to elaborate later. And for this copy, we have found the soundtrack, which means that we used to have a song, but now it's silent. However, if anyone have ever seen this before. So basically, it's all kind of Taiwanese opera movie, 歌仔戏电影. So the original concept was they convert 歌仔戏 Taiwanese opera into a film, which means that it can be distributed and be released more widely compared to the Taiwanese opera itself. Because the film print can be reproduced into hundreds of thousands of copies and go to the theaters instead of the single one opera key. So you can make more profit. That's the basic idea of why the Taiwanese language film has been produced. Okay, thank you. Let's go to the next slide. So, in recent years, several milestones have marked the development of artificial intelligence, which is AI. On November 30, 2022, the US-based AI research lab OpenAI released the ChatGPT language or model to the public, making AI more accessible in digital life and in daily life. On February 15, 2024, OpenAI announced another breakthrough, the dynamic image generation model, Sora, capable of producing moving images based on prompts. Its demonstration videos sparked widespread public interest, particularly among those familiar with computer-generated imagery. In Taiwan, future attention was drawn when NVIDIA's Taiwanese-American co-founder and CEO Jensen Huang delivered a keynote speech at Computex 2024, discussing the next phase of the AI industry, dubbed the AI Godfather. Huang's visit stirred what the media called Gen sanity, heightening domestic discussion on the transformative potential of AI in both existing industries and yet to be created jobs. In October 2024, the Lumiere Festival in Lyon, France, entered on classic cinema, hosted the Marchand International New Film Classic, a 4-day event that included a forum by the National Audiovisual Institute, which is NINA, exploring the use of AI in promoting audiovisual cultural heritage and the legal implications of such applications. The discussion focused on AI-powered tools developed by NINA for promoting its collections, as well as legal and regulatory frameworks in France and internationally regarding AI use. The festival's program coordinator noted in media coverage that more and more restoration institutions are turning to AI to accelerate digital restoration at lower costs. As AI applications expand across sectors, what are the implications and possibilities for AI use in moving image restoration within the preservation and utilization of audiovisual heritage? Next. Historically, moving image restoration in the analog era primarily involved film and television media, distinguished by their recording formats and distribution methods. In brief, films were shot on celluloid, printed as projection reels, and shown in theaters. Early television also used film to record moving images, but soon transitioned to magnetic tests for storage and broadcast via airwaves. Even after the advent of cable television and before the rise of digital video production and internet transmission, magnetic text remain the dominant medium. Thus, when we speak of moving image restoration, we refer to the repair of these two analog formats and their content, restoring images for continuing viewing, use, or relatively accurate interpretation. Physical deterioration of the medium limits restoration efforts, but digital restoration allows more flexibility. Once digitized, image content becomes data, and the repaired data is far less constrained than restoring physical media. Before discussing restoration, it is essential to understand which part of the process is being addressed. Is digitization an image and restoring it through software is known as digital restoration. In the future, is another method. Sorry. When the digitally produced video image will need digital restoration in the future is another method. One could argue that since these files already exist as data, unless they become corrupted, they may not require restoration. However, upgrades in resolution and changes in viewing formats, for example 3D, due to evolving broadcast standards, remain pressing industry's concern. Traditionally, a restoration of physical media, which is physical restoration, involves professionals cleaning and re-informing media that have deteriorated due to an age or poor storage. For film, this initial step is called film preparation. Training for such work is specialized, and decisions about the degree of restoration require careful evaluation. Severely damaged film or tape may not be digitized. With current equipment, and handling may further damage the content, making it unplayable. In addition, moving image restoration involves diverse damage types, healing illusion, scratches from repeated projection, and base wrapping due to poor storage, each requiring human judgment. Setting aside the technical and ethical debates on restoration, one key point stands out. Both physical and digital restoration are currently labor-intensive process. However, the rapid democratization of AI applications promises a significant transformation in this labor model. What is now labor-intensive may soon be mostly automated by AI, which means that we got a chance to restore data. Those two pieces are just shown to you by AI in the near future. So next. Why does AI restoration matter? It matters not only for reconstructing film history as a collective human memory, but also for its commercial potential in recent decades. Film restoration has gone beyond saving images for the archives. It has created a new market and a new way of experiencing cinema. I guess in the past years, if you get a chance to go to the cinema, you would at least choose one or two classical titles that to sing. So I would like to give you some examples. In Italy, the La Cinema Ritrovata Festival in Bologna attracts more than 100,000 visitors every year, providing that restored films can be the centerpiece of an international event. In Japan, the long-running program Cinema at 10 a.m. brings in over 500,000 admissions annually, featuring restored classics on the big screen. And for the host of Cinema at 10 a.m., actually, they claim that not all the films started at 10 a.m. because there are too many classical titles, which means that they sometimes switch the program to. So here in Taiwan, the 4K restoration of Our Life, DOS, directed by director Wu Yen-zhen in 1994, sparked a national conversation, while Dragon in directed by Hu in 1967, sold out instantly at the Golden Horse Film Festival. So these examples reveal one thing. Film restoration is not only about cultural memory, it is also about responding to a growing global demand. That leads to the next question. How can we meet that more efficiently. This is where artificial intelligence enters the picture. Next. For example, digital restoration specialists often face increased workloads when restoring prints with embedded subtitles. Existing software cannot easily distinguish whether subtitles are part of the intended image. This makes it hard to apply automatic tools for stabilizing, checking footage, or removing sketches or missing frames without human intervention, which is now. With AI, however, the system could think like a human, ideally, interpreting the image contextually and making more informed decisions, reducing over-restoration. Generative AI restoration model could also evolve through learning and experience process, improving each use. Furthermore, AI-driven restoration won't be haunted by physical limitation like eye strain or fatigue, as computing power and AI capabilities grow, so will restoration capacity. From this aspect, will digital restoration professionals, human beings,